and also in America. Wonderful.
Is it big enough, or shall I make it big?
Big enough.
Big enough.
Big enough.
Oh, okay.
The screen
That's
is very
great.
big.
Okay. Okay, so this is the title of my talk. I'll take about 10 minutes or so, and I can stop whenever it's time because I've got more slides than necessary. So the title is How We Can Develop Metacognitive Awareness of Young Learners. And I have got some examples to share from not one study, but a few studies that I have been doing in Indian primary classrooms. Is that okay?
La titolo estas disvolvi metacogna konscio de junaj lernantoj, kelkaj ekzemploj el barataj klasĉambroj, ne estas nur unu studo, estas pluraj studoj pri elementaĝaj studentoj.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just quickly go through this as an introduction, not really to inform people or educate people, but what is metacognition? It's the process of thinking about thinking or knowing about knowing. And it's the ability to understand, monitor, regulate your own learning and thought processes. And
So
there are...
Yes,
okay. And I'll just finish this one. There are many approaches to improve or promote metacognition of young learners. I'm basically at the moment concerned with young learners. So these are all the things: asking open-ended reflective questions, helping them to visualize, encouraging learners to plan or think beforehand, giving feedback and promoting self-assessment, giving choices and asking learners to explain their selection and so forth. You want to say it now or at the end of the... Okay, you can say one more slide and you can translate.
Maybe I translate now. So, tio estas metacognezzo. Tio estas la processo pensi pripensi aŭ koni prikoni. Do estas la kapablo kompreni kaj kontroli via lerna kaj pensa processo. Kai por junaj lernantoj, tio inkluzivas flanke de la instruisto, fari demandojn kiuj ne havas nur unu ebla solvo, kaj doni demandojn kiuj pensigas la studentoj, pripensigas la studentoj, kaj kuraĝigi ilin plani sian lernadon, kaj ankaŭ mem kontroli kiel ili estas lernantoj, kai clarigi sian electoin en lernado au en farado. Do, bonvolu, please, Rama.
Yeah. So I have another dimension to my work when I talk about helping learners to be metacognitive learners, and that is the multilingual context in India. All of us speak more than 2 languages in India, and our children come with many more than 2 languages very often. And although I'm focusing on teaching English, we are very conscious that they bring in their own home languages, sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 in the classroom, and these they're all inseparable, as we know. So it's just makes it very interesting in a way, but also a little complex. We want to focus on what students already know and build on it rather than, be conscious of what they don't know. So that's one point. Maybe the second point also I'll mention, and then you can translate. The emergent multilinguals' active and dynamic use of their languages as an integrated whole, both in their minds and their oral and written expression. So we are very aware of that, but we don't usually do justice to it. We don't have adequate strategies to sort of help them use their resource, which is their mother tongue, to build on English, and we need to do that. So this is the context that I work in here. Yeah.
Yes, do barata e klasĉambroj estas tre kompleksaj, ĉar kutime estas minimume 2 lingvoj en unu klasĉambro, sed kutime 3, 4 aŭ pli. do flanke de la instruisto estas multe da lingvoj en Barato. Do la instruisto vere devas atenti pri tio. Alia problemo estas fakto ke instruisto scias pri tiu ĉi fakto ke lernantoj havas alian propran lingvon kaj el tio oni devus konstrui por pli bona lernado ekzemple de la angla, sed estas malfacile tion fari flanke de la instruisto. Mi supozas precipe se tio ne estas la denaska lingvo de la instruisto. Bone?
Okay. Shall I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to show you some examples. These are very practical things. I thought we should look at this and then draw some insights from this, or and then understand how we can help them better. So my main focus has been on helping them to read better, the young children. But then other language skills such as listening, speaking, writing, and drawing, they have all been actively involved. And it's a mother tongue medium English class in grades, usually typically primary, because I like to work with those children who have not developed, surprisingly, unfortunately, to read either their mother tongue well or English. So that's a real challenge, and therefore it excites me, because when I try to go to them and teach them or engage with them, it's what they do and what they say, and everything is extremely informative and exciting. Both their mother tongue or the dominant language and English are used in a free and facile way in their normal lives and in the classroom. So I continue with that same sort of multilingual way. Usually I'm the outside researcher who's tried out different strategies for short 2 weeks duration or longer periods, which has been also 5 to 6 months. I go there twice a week or 3 times a week, and I've done projects. So what I'm trying to share is sort of a conglomeration, or this one of a combination of many different studies. Is this clear? You want to translate, or is that okay?
Yes, I try to translate very fast.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Do tiu estas el multaj studoj kiun Rama faris pri junaj lernantoj de la angla, precipe kun la celo helpi ilin legi pli bone, sed ankaŭ aktivigante aliajn kapablojn kiel aŭdi, paroli, verki kaj desegni. Kaj tiuj lernantoj estis meznivelaj en sia lingvo kaj en la angla. Do vidas la klasoj, estas la kvina kaj sesa, kaj en la studoj la ambaŭ la lingvoj estis libere uzitaj, la denaska kaj la angla. Kaj Rama visitis tiujn klasojn dum 2 semajnoj aŭ pli longaj periodoj, 5-6 semajnoj. Ŝi ne estis la ĉefinstruistino de tiu ĉi klaso.
Okay. So before I go on to some things that I have done, everything next that I show is all so-called data. I've done something like taken some reading texts to them, usually stories, and I read it for them. I do a lot of gesturing, then you telling a story which they listen to, and then it's not just one reading, one telling, but then they have the text in their hand. So this continues for maybe a week. And then one of the things that I have tried out, experimented with, has been this strategy or technique of visualization. Children are told to visualize the picture that comes in their head and then draw them later on. Although this was not easy, because they're all used to drawing in a very controlled way, something like in their drawing classes, there is an apple given an outline and they fill it up with pink and that kind of drawing. no freehand drawing, nothing based on their understanding of a text or anything. So that's the kind of context I worked with. And then as I read, they also try to make sense of what is happening, and they apply their understanding from their mother tongue into English and so on. So that's the background to the kind of work I have done. Do you want to explain that, or shall I show the examples?
We're always seeing your last slide. You didn't show a new slide. So, but anyway,
Okay.
I can.
No, new slide is about data.
Okay.
If you can.
So I just translate.
Okay. Okay.
La facto estas que Rama legas, Rama legas, kai si petas lernantojn vidi en sia capo kion si estas leganta kaj desegni ĝin. Ke tio estas malfacile, ĉar en la barata kunteksto en tiu aĝo de lernantoj ili ne estas alkutimiĝintaj libere desegni. Ili kutime nur plenigas ion kio estas jam donita al ili. Do ili ne liberigas sian malkapablon kiam ili desegnas. Tamen tio helpas kaj oni laboras el tio ankaŭ pri la kompreno en la denaska lingvo de la ligitaj aferoj. Please.
Okay, so this is from a recording where I'm reading the story. The teacher, T is me, so they're reading a story along with the class, why they are following the text, which means they have that story in their hand, on a piece of paper. It's not from their textbook. And we have read this, I have told the story once or twice and so on. So as I'm reading, they are sort of pitching in with their own understanding. And it's in Hindi. So the second one, here you see in italics, Ma'am, Sarita bhi means Sarita also. Oh, yes, I say, oh, yes, thank you. Sarita, Dinesh and Rajendra. And I read it. One day after dropping children to school, he went from school looking for passengers. Passengers. Now, they don't know the word passengers, but then I look at children and then I continue. This is an auto rickshaw driver who picks up children and drops them at school. Auto rickshaw is a three-wheeled vehicle in India. It's largely used by, everybody, and especially to drop and pick up children. Then I read, he saw that a man was waving to him. He was waving to Billu for the auto rickshaw. Billu is the name of the auto rickshaw driver. So the students comes up saying, Sanket de raha hai rokne ke liye. He's asking him to stop. So they are translating this sentence, making it, making sure that they understand and their classmates understand. There's a lot of this collaborative helping, learning, and so on. So the student is giving the meaning for what the teacher reads in Hindi. So there's a lot of this kind of comprehension in both languages going on. So this is one example.
Do en tiu ĉi ekzemplo vi vidas ke la angla estas uzata, sed la lernantoj ankaŭ klopodas klarigi al si mem kaj al aliaj klasanoj la signifon de vortoj kiuj ili ne konis. Ekzemple en tiu ĉi kazo passengers, ili ne komprenis la vorton passengers. Do ili en Hindi uno el ili klarigis donis la ideon al alioj pri kiu temas. Do estas tiu kunlaboro inter instruisto kaj lernantoj kiuj klopodas kompreni pri kiu temas.
Okay. It continues in this slide. So it's very interesting what has come up here. So who do you like most? So this is more like a personal or a kind of a beyond the text question. Billu and Dinesh, they like both of them. Dinesh, tell me why you like Dinesh. So it's a personal response. Kyunki Dinesh ne apna lunch Billu ko diya. So the translation is because Dinesh gave his lunch to Billu. Another student is saying the same thing in a slightly different construction. Billu ko Dinesh ne lunch box diya tha. This is Dinesh had given his lunch box to Billu. So here S1 and S2 use different tenses, past and past perfect, to convey the meaning. Now, this kind of complexity in conveying what they have understood cannot happen in English, but they're able to articulate this in Hindi, and it tells us how their comprehension is improving. Then I asked the question, Billu, naraz ho gaya tha? Repeats, because the student has said this. Was Billu angry? Kyun? Why? So there are lots of these why questions, and focusing on what they say, making them think and reflect, and so on. So these are all small, really small strategies for making them more reflective learners, more thinking about how they think, and so on. So this is just one example. You want to translate, Alessandro?
Yes.
Okay.
La antaŭa ekzemplo estis dum la legado de la rakonto, tiu ĉi kazo estas post la legado de la rakonto, kaj en tiu ĉi kazo la strategio estas uzi larĝaj demandoj, kiuj ne havas nur unu ebla respondo. Tio por pensigi pli multe la lernantoj. L'antaŭa kazo estis pli kompreno de la rakonto, en tiu ĉi kazo estas larĝaj demandoj. Kaj vi vidas en tiu ĉi kazo estas kiu karaktero vi ŝatas pli multe, kaj do Bilo aŭ Dinesh, kaj lernantoj donis malsamajn respondojn, ankaŭ uzante malsamajn tempojn gramatike. Kaj la instruistino do poste denove demandas al la lernantoj, demandas pli multe da klarigoj, do kial Bilu estis kolera. Ankaŭ en tiu ĉi kazo estas por vidi ĉu vere la lernantoj komprenis, kaj ankaŭ por doni larĝajn demandoj kiuj ne havas nur unu ebla respondo, do por pensigi ilin pli multe.
Okay, so these two are examples from classroom excerpts. Next, I'm showing you a drawing that they made because I had told them, can they draw something based on what they understand? Now, this is almost like the beginning of my project, and they can, as you can see, their drawing is sort of bits and pieces kind of thing, and the perspective is sort of really very two-dimensional, or whatever you like. I'm going to quickly show other drawings. As we progress, their understanding of the story got more complex, which also got reflected in the way they drew their pictures. Now, you can see it's the same Billu Dinesh story. One child has drawn this auto, and then that is the house where the student is waiting for the auto rickshaw to come. And so and they have given a caption. This caption is all not, told to them, but then they drew this on their own. So trying to say what they are saying is also a very important, dimension. So that they are doing. Another drawing, you can see here, Billu has come to give the lunchbox. You can see, here he's holding the lunchbox. This is supposed to be the auto rickshaw driver. These are all children, and this is the school building. So it's got more complex. There is movement in their drawing, and then there is some expression in their drawing. And so they are able to draw like this. This shows that their understanding is getting better and better. So the better they draw, the better their understanding of the story, and vice versa. So that way, visualization really is a very useful technique for getting at language. Is that okay? Shall I move ahead? I have some more drawings based on
no, please show more drawings, and then I will talk about them.
Yeah, okay. Another story much later during the project. It's a very simple story where this girl didn't want to go to her aunt's wedding. She didn't want to buy any new clothes. Then there's a nice caption here in Hindi, but then they have drawn this later. And the drawings got more and more complex, as you can see, more expressive. And one thing that struck me was, even as I would start the story, they would come and tell me, I'm thinking where I can pick up an image from the story for drawing. So they started planning. children who could barely read alphabets in grade 5, of course, many of them even at this stage didn't know all the alphabets or how it read. It was a slow process, but then they are improving in making sense of a text and all those kinds of things. Another story again here, then this is the house with so many details, as you can see. Then there is a detailed caption here. You can look at that. Earlier, a tree used to be drawn only with a ruler, and here it is freehand drawing. So these are all developments or improvements.
Okay.
Another one, last one.
Okay.
Yeah, last one. She didn't want to go to the village for the wedding, but then they decided to go, and she also decides to go. I won't go into the details of the story, but look at how colorful. And they're saying, Nina, go to the Kanpur. English is not correct, but then obviously they're very happy. Nina's family is happy. Nina apni chachi ki shadi mein khushi khushi ja rahi hai. Nina is going with her, she's going for her aunt's wedding very happily. That's what it's saying. So yeah, this is about the drawing and how they started articulating, thinking beforehand, assessing their drawing, and then telling their story, what this drawing is about to others. They would to the whole class or to their peers sitting next to them. Lots of these activities happened. So they started becoming more and more willing, articulate, and their reading got better. It's a full study. I'm not reporting on the study. Yeah, if you can summarize, Alessandra, yes. I have one or two more slides before I finish.
Yes. En tutti caso vi vidis sufiĉe multe da desegnajoj faritaj de la lernantoj. La unuaj kiun vi vidis estis faritaj komence de tiu ĉi esplorado. Do la lernantoj ankoraŭ ne bone komprenis la rakonton, kaj ankaŭ ilia desegnado estis tro simpla. Sed cune kun ilia plia kompreno ankaŭ ilia desegnado iĝis pli bona, pli colorplena, ili pli multe esprimis siajn emociojn. Ekzemple en tiu ĉi kazo la feliĉo iri al geedziĝo de onklino estas montrita per tiu ĉi bela blua koloro kaj festantaj aferoj, kaj ankaŭ vi vidas ke ili skribas kelkfoje en la angla aŭ kelkfoje en sia propra lingvo. Do ili ankaŭ rakontas parto de la rakonto uzante sian propra lingvon kaj la angla. Do tio estas ankaŭ por montri ke ili komprenas pli multe. Estas unu strategio por montri ke ili komprenas pli multe.
Okay, yes. Shall I continue? How much time do I have, Alessandra?
Well, we started late, so we can give you a little more, but yeah.
5 more? 5 more or 2-3 more minutes?
Yeah, 2-3 more minutes is fine. Yes.
Okay. I just want to show you 1 or 2 more examples. This is a story that I read to another class, and it was in fact a Chinese story. Very interesting story. These were the questions I gave them to answer. These were all factual questions at the beginning. But in the end, there was this question, why did the tree cry and why did the man cry? And they could answer any 2 questions from the top and the last question. Giving them a thing to select, giving them choice is also a very important strategy for developing metacognition. And so they are able to make the choice, which questions they want to answer, they can answer. And the other dimension I'm trying to show you here is when you give them a chance to answer it in their mother tongue, they answer it much better than when they have to answer it in English. You can see here, the tree gave him its branches, he cut it and took it, is what they are saying in Telugu. This is a study I conducted in Hyderabad, where I live now. Why did the tree cry? Why it cried means is that endukante aataru I'm not able to read this very easily. He did not come for many years. That's why the tree cried. They are able to say this much. Why did the man cry? అతను ఎందుకు ఏడిచాడంటే చెట్టు something అందుకోను. Why he cried means the tree was broken. That is why. So it's a very emotional kind of an ending, but they are able to empathize with this and then think of extrapolatory context where this can apply to their home, their parents, and so on. So that was all very touching. All a grade 5 child doing this. Normally, in their textbook, it's a little sort of prosaic. The texts are all a bit uninteresting, and it's done in a very mechanical, uninteresting way. I mean, I'm generalizing, I'm sorry about that, but very often they're not even allowed to read on their own or helped to read on their own. Do I have, okay, one more example here. You can see there is Telugu. They're much more eloquent in Telugu. You can see longer sentences, more complex sentences, and so on. Okay, later, I'll finish now, then maybe you can summarize. Also, questions are asked. This is yet another context, not the Hyderabad one. Why do I not like to write in English? Because they never showed much interest. The teacher asked, this is not me. The teacher asked them, मैं क्यों नहीं लिखना चाहती? So they are writing it in a bilingual form, both English and Hindi. Another question, what do we think of the homework we get? They are in fact thinking as almost like in an adult way, why they don't like homework or what they think about the homework. Later on in this study, the teacher said how they made their own homework and then they liked answering it. So these are all examples of how when you give it over to them, responsibility, they take it and they become more responsible learners, which is what is self-assessment, self-learning, all that will happen. That's the end of my talk. Now Alessandra can maybe give a gist of this.
En tiu ci caso tiu ci studo estis farita do lantaŭa bildoj estis pri studo farita en Hyderabad, kiu estas loko kie oni parolas telegu, estas unu el la lingvoj minoritataj lingvoj de Barato, kaj vi vidas ke en tiu demandoj faritaj pri la tekstoj de fare de Rama, la demandoj estis tre larĝaj, kaj la respondoj estis faritaj en la angla kaj en telegu. Kaj en telegu ili estis pli plenaj, pli riĉaj, ĉu ne? Tamen estas ankaŭ maniero havi ilin paroli ankaŭ pri emocioj, ne nur pri tre simplaj demandoj kaj respondoj, ĉu vi komprenis pri kio temas, sed ankaŭ paroligi pli profunde pri la afero. Kaj la lastaj bildoj temas pri alia afero, estas alia studo, se estas tre interese, ĉar Rama faris demandoj kial vi ne ŝatas verki en la angla? Aŭ kion vi pensas pri la hejmtaskojn kiujn vi havas, kiujn vi ricevas? Kaj la respondoj estis tre interesaj, kaj post tio Rama petis al ili, do bone, faru vin la hejmtaskojn kiujn vi ŝatas fari. Do la lernantoj estis kuraĝigitaj mem fari hejmtaskojn, mem pensi pri hejmtaskojn, kaj tio estas parto de pensigi ilin. Do la celo de disvolvigi metakogna kapablo estas pensigi ilin. Yes.
That's all I have to say, and I'm just showing some examples that I thought were trying to illustrate how children can be made to think on their own, plan on their own, take responsibility and make choices and reflect on their learning and so on. This is just a very brief presentation. It's not a full-fledged whatever because of, I think, time. But if you want to ask questions, I'll be happy to answer. I've got these two references which I referred to. That's it.
Yes. Yes. So, Danko. Do estis tre interese, compreneble, mi esperas che por la libro de l'acto vi scribu tre longe, vi verku tre longe, por tiu ci presentado estis, pardonu pro tecnicae problemo igis pli mallonge, sed esas tre bone vidi kiel oni respondecigas la studento, igas ilin pli respondezza e pli capablei pensi pri si mem. Ĉu estas demandoj? Ĉu estas demandoj? Mi havas demandon. Ĉu vi faras tiun studon a klasoj kiu havas 3-4 lingvojn, ĉu ne? Kaj vi diris ke vi ankoraŭ ne kapablas bone disvolvi strategion por vere uzi tion komplete. Sed ĉu estas paŝoj faritaj en tiu direkto? Nur tiu demando.
Bonvolu angliki ĝin.
Oh! Sorry, Rama.
Okay.
Okay, no, because you were saying that, okay, anyway, you were saying that your classroom have at least 3-4 languages usually, right?
Yeah.
Because it's in
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
And you said that you were trying to find way. It's important for the teachers to find way to use what the students already know, what the learners
That's right.
already
Exactly.
know.
Yeah.
And you said that though it's difficult when there are so many languages involved, but are there ways to try to do that at least, if not completely?
Yeah, actually, you don't need to know all the languages that children know, because in India, things can be as complex as, let's say, there are 10 languages that children have in the classroom and you only know 3 or 2. But then it's very easy and exciting to get them to talk to each other if they know their languages and try and help the other child understand what's going on. And so it's a very rich kind of a meaning-making situation. And nobody sort of knows everything. And the teacher is learning the language herself in the process. So the whole idea is to convey that you and I can learn things that we don't know by collaborating, you know.
Tre interesa respondo. Il facto estas che kelkfoje lernantoj parolas 10 lingvojn en unu klasĉambro en Barato. Sed ne estas necese por la instruisto koni ĉiujn. Eble la instruisto konas 3 aŭ 4 aŭ 2 aŭ 3. Sed tio ne vere gravas, ĉar la grava afero estas ke lernantoj devas kompreni ke ili povas uzi sian propran lingvon por helpi la aliajn lernantojn kiuj konas tiun saman lingvon. Do, exemple, ili povas klarigi al unu la alian, helpi unu al alia, ke tio estas grava parto de la lerna proceso, ili estas kuraĝigitaj kaj ankaŭ la instruisto lernas. Do, tio estas tre bona afero, kio estas du-direkta afero. Thank you. Does Giri have a question?
Yeah, if I may, let me ask that first in English to Rama and then translate my question in Esperanto. Do mi unue faros mian demandon anglalingve al Rama kaj esperantigos la demandon poste por ni esperantisto. I was just wondering that what the examples you have shown, Rama, are a great way to rethink about separating our languages into various named boxes, that this is English, this is Hindi, this is Telugu, and so on.
Yeah.
What you have demonstrated with your examples is that really the language repertoire of the child is one single thing or one integrated thing.
Yeah.
What kind of teacher education would help teachers revise that belief that they begin with, that these are separate languages? Do mia demando estis que la exemploj kiujn montris nia Rama, nia preleganto, estas granda pruvaĵo ke la lerneja sistemo apartigas lingvojn en skatolojn, se tiel diri, tiu estas la angla, tiu es jen la televua, jen la hindia kotopo. Sed evidente por la infano, por la lernanto, tiui lingvoi estas parto de iu integra tutaĵo. Kaj en tiu senso, kiel kiel havi sistemon de instruista treinado, kiu donas tiun novan orientiĝon, se tiel diri, pri tutaĵo de lingva repertoro. Ne temas pri apartaj lingvoj, ĉar la infano, la lernanto mem ŝajne aliras al la rakonto kun siaj tutaj kapabloj en diversaj lingvoj. Dankon. Thank you.
So, yeah, Indian teachers, or all of us, we have all had English as one subject, Hindi as another subject, and Kannada as another, and so on. And teachers, out of lack of knowledge or fear, they even penalize students if they use one language in another class, another sub-language class. Of course, not knowing that it's really demeaning their personality, demeaning them as human beings or their identity, but also coming in the way of learning the language, because we are as multilinguals, as you know, we are all in one. We have the dialect that we have. So what happened? So, okay. All right. Okay. So it's very important. Now, of course, the national education policy is trying to sort of tell people, no, it's a multilingual thing, develop their multilingual competence and everything. But it's still very theoretical or at the recommendation level. In the classroom, there's not much that's being done. And as long as we have separate tests, languages, test in Hindi, test in English, where you can't be using the other language. In fact, I have done quite a bit of work on assessment of these things in a multilingual way. I think we need to promote this and equip teachers to adopt those multilingual strategies for teaching and assessment. I don't know if I answered your question, Giridhar.
Ĉu Giri tradukos aŭ mi? Mi povas traduki se vi volas, aŭ vi povas? Mi tradukos. Do
Yes,
bone. Yes. Do Rama diris ke estas tiu instruado en diversaj en Barato, kutime en la lecionoj de la angla oni parolas nur la angla kaj oni ne povas paroli aliajn lingvojn, same pri testado, se oni havas teston en la angla, oni ne povas fari tion pri alia lingvo. Kaj tio estas malfacila afero por instruistoj ŝanĝi tion, ĉar ili alkutimiĝas labori tiamaniere. Tamen estas tre grave laŭ Rama ke tio ŝanĝu kaj ke oni esploru manierojn ankaŭ pli gravigi la multlingvecon de la lando, kio estas grava riĉeco de la lando. Kaj jam estas ankaŭ je la leĝa nivelo, mi diru, estas ankaŭ iu faciligo pri tio. Tamen ankoraŭ oni devas labori pri tio pli multe por vere tute apliki tio. Yes, so that is very great. Thank you. So thank you so much to Rama. I'm so sorry for the technical problems. We are so honored that you're here. Perdono por la technical problemoj. Now we move to another part of the world.
No. Before I finish and go away, it's a pity I won't be able to listen to you because I don't follow. I'll have to leave. But yes, I would like to say a big thank you to Alessandra first. You have been so generous in sort of accommodating me here and making it all possible for me to share whatever I did with your colleagues here. It's wonderful that, you are all open to understanding, listening to translations. And by the way, I also felt that I could understand a little bit of Esperanto.
Great. Do Rama kompreni iom da Esperanto. Kaj ŝi multe dankas nin, ke ni aŭskultis al ŝi, ke ŝi vere volis paroli pri tiuj aferoj.
There are lots of common words.
They're so interesting things, and we should do many more things together.
Yeah, no. So I really want to thank you, Alessandra and Giridhar, for all the support, and then all of you for listening to me so patiently.